he came as a chief guest, and for the speaker. And believe me, anyone who could have been Andrew Nganda as a chief guest. So if I invite somebody as my chief guest, even if I have certain dignitaries, the chief guest would take a much respectable position on the occasion. It could have been a bishop, and in this particular case, it was MK.
It was MK?
Yeah.
So do you think, being there, that you inadvertently endorsed General Muhoozi Kainerugaba's politics?
I don't think there was any endorsement there. He was a chief guest of the speaker.
You were talking politics. You were pumping the air.
But why should you be shy?
No. I'm speaking for myself.
Yes.
First of all, I should tell you, Omar,
Yeah.
my grandson Kifumbi and my other grandson Ibrahim Ssemujju are joining them. God is so good. You're going to see.
No,
They are going to join. So don't be shy. Be firm and clear that you endorsed MK as the next president of Uganda and that you are joining the movement.
No, I think that is not correct. The members of parliament was in Bukedia as guest of the speaker.
Yes.
On a Thanksgiving ceremony on a Sunday, as I've already stated. And the speaker asked us to join her again on a second event.
And you were not aware who the chief guest was going to be, were you?
No, she stated that General MK had a tour in Teso, but he would pass by.
So you knew?
We knew, yes, that he was going to
And
come.
you knew that he was going to be the chief guest?
Yes.
And now as a politician, when you reflect back, do you think, don't you realize that you potentially endorsed?
But Omar, is there a problem with you endorsing MK?
No. Andrew, let us follow the Constitution.
Honorable Mara,
Yes.
like Andrew has said,
Yes.
there is no reason for you to be shy if you endorsed.
No, there
There
was no program of endorsement there. No. He came as a chief guest of the speaker.
Your presence was an endorsement. Implicit, not explicit.
No, you'll have your say. Can I speak and then you have your say?
Okay, my grandson.
Yeah, so the members of parliament were there as a guest of the speaker. And the speaker said, on the following day, we shall have a function to meet the members of my constituency. But on this occasion, MK will be there, will pass by. In her statement, she said he will pass by to greet the people. And when we arrived there, then she said that the chief guest for the function would be MK. So we were all there now as members of parliament. So I don't think there is any contradiction at all in terms of her invitation of MK as the chief guest for the function.
You seem to be struggling.
No. I wouldn't want to lie and say that members of parliament were there to endorse MK. That's not true. It's not correct. He was there as a chief guest on the second function, and we were also invited to attend that same function.
Mara,
Yes.
MK has indicated that he has political ambitions to replace his father. There is a movement called the MK movement.
Yes.
There is an MK army. There are so many other things that have been going on. And Honorable Paul Omara surely knows that the discussion is about the next president of the Republic of Uganda and the role of General MK. You were there. You attended. Now that when you look back, it's just a week ago. Your memory must be still fresh. Yes. Do you realize that?
You see, as a member of parliament and as a leader who respects the Constitution and knows what the Constitution says, I can't say that the MK movement is about a campaign for presidency. Because Article 208, subsection 2 of the Constitution debars serving officers from seeking the office of the presidency. It actually says they are apolitical and subservient to civilian authority. The UPDF Act, section 3, talks about the same thing. So that's why I want to insist that MK was there It is capacity as a chief guest for the speaker. Any other activities that is taking place, for me, I'm not aware.
I'm glad you quote the Constitution.
Yes.
And says what it says and what it bans, what it stops.
Yeah.
The discussion was of an army officer, the comments were of an army officer, or a political actor, in your view, at the function you attended?
No, I still want to insist that he came as a guest.
Yes.
And there's nothing in the Constitution that stops a serving officer from being a chief guest at a function.
No, I'm talking about the comments and the speech of the guest of honor.
No, he actually, I was there, he said, he just greeted the people of Teso, the crowd. He greeted them, and he told them, and he said, today I have nothing to say, because I will have my speech the following day, where I will be meeting the people. That was what the man said. He did not say any other thing. He did not make a speech. He did not talk. Yeah.
You followed what he said when he met the people?
Later, no, I didn't.
Well, you didn't?
The following day, when he met the people, no, I didn't follow.
You haven't even seen it on television? Already about it in the newspaper?
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
No, I haven't.
Thank you. Andrew?
That was harassment of Omar.
No, it's okay. Yeah, it is okay.
You're the spokesperson of the MK movement. What was that about Bukedea and the broader Teso Baraza business?
No. In fact, what he said is very true. The speaker invited MK to be a guest of honor at her event, where she had invited members of parliament to visit her and meet her constituents with her. But as I have told you before here, people think that Muhoozi started the MK movement. He did not. Different people, other grassroots in different parts of Uganda, and my grandson of Pond is my witness, started agitating for a transition. As you know, Charles, there is a huge demand in Uganda for a transition. People can clearly see that President Museveni has grown old and tired. He doesn't have much energy and zest, and they want a transition. The problem is that the opposition in Uganda, especially personified in two radical extremist groups, one called NUP, or People Power led by Chagulanya, and another called Defiance. Because you see, FDC, the mainstream FDC, is a moderate liberal party. Even sections of NUP are also moderate, liberal-minded political party. But specifically, Defiance and People Power, where the most fanatical supporters of Bobi Wine and Besigye, who have run and made effective challenge for the presidency, have disappointed Ugandans, and Ugandans want to see the emergence of a new government with the energy and zest, and perhaps give clarity on a new policy direction, but also introduce better values. The current NRM is so riddled with patronage and corruption. It's so difficult to have an 80-year-old president being a leader of a reform movement. So those frustrated Ugandans started a movement around MK because they felt that they need continuity of President Yoweri Museveni, and the best way to do so would be to do it through this hand. But I should also tell you that one of the things that worries me is the blindness of people like Bobi Wine and Besigye about the transition in Uganda. I do not know whether you know that Bobi Wine and I can't remember who have taken Museveni to the ICC. So if you really want Museveni to leave power, you really think threatening him with... Let me finish. Yes. Does that encourage him to leave? So many people who want a transition are looking to Muhoozi for that transition. Muhoozi cannot abandon them. And if a time comes and he feels he has to run, he will resign from the army and officially run. Right now he's not running for president.
Have you decided yet as his core team when that time will be?
So, did you hear that from Andrew? That currently he's not running for the president.
He's not. He's not.
Yeah. Have you decided? Have you decided on a time when he will?
The large mass of Ugandans on the grassroots they want him to run, and they're putting pressure on him to run. But when he makes that decision, he will have to resign from the army. That you can be sure about. He will respect the law. You are saying, have we made the decision that he runs?
Even about when he will run. You made a decision that he will run.
Personally, I feel that he should run in 2026.
2026.
Yes, and we are keenly following what is happening on the ground. People are mobilizing. If we feel like the movement has gained sufficient momentum, we will certainly prevail upon him to retire from the army and register to run for president. And I am confident that President Museveni will step aside. So there is likely to be a transition in 2026. I'm serious. There is likely to be a transition if the MK movement turns out to be vigorous and serious and able to...
What are you using to measure the vigorousness and seriousness of the MK movement?
Right now, we have not yet employed any scientific measure. We will be employing scientific measures soon, but at least a person can make judgments, whether you go on social media, whether you see the rallies that he attends. It's true, rallies can be misleading, but we will be conducting much more scientific investigations to establish how strong this movement is on the grassroots.
Do you think that General Muhoozi Kainerugaba, in what he's doing at the moment, is breaking the law?
I have actually consulted with the Attorney General of Uganda and a couple of lawyers in private practice, and they have all told us that there is no law he has violated.
The Attorney General is team chairman. Is the lead of team chairman.
Well,
and team chairman is one of the leading groups.
But the Attorney General is also the legal advisor to government.
Yes.
It is like saying that because George Bush appointed so and so to the Supreme Court, when the judgment was made, therefore it's not legitimate.
No, but you would agree, Andrew, that
because you see Charles Mwangusha, where I disagree with you guys, if you think what Muhoozi is doing is illegal, there is a constitutional court. You go to court.
You are in
the
court.
judges will
You
adjudicate.
are in court, aren't you?
Well,
the same thing.
Okay, so wait, let's wait. So let us wait for the final authority of the justice system to pronounce itself on the matter. But you speculating, rejecting the views of the Attorney General, rejecting the views of private sector lawyers.
Paul Omara just read us from the Constitution, Article 206.
208.
208, subsection 2.
Subsection 2.
It says anyone who wants to run for president has to resign from the army. Muhoozi has not said he's running for president. I have told you here 1 minute ago that when Muhoozi wants to run for president, Charles,
and that is why
he will retire.
And that's why I said, Charles, that Parliament did not endorse MK for presidency, because you cannot endorse a serving officer.
Members of the movement caucus, of the NRM caucus, in Parliament, endorsed.
No, that's not correct. That's not true.
But just even if they did, assuming they endorsed him, that is not Moses' position.
But remember, it is within Moses' constitutional right to run for president. The only thing that he needs to do is that he has to respect the Constitution, as I've already said, UPDF Act
so now
Section 3
when I
and the Constitution
you stopped me. Now you have interrupted
I will allow you to say it.
But you're not the moderator to allow me.
No, so, but what I'm saying is that if we respect the law, because the Constitution of Uganda is supreme, if we respect the Constitution, I think we are going to make a good journey.
Yes, but Charles, the point I was making is this. Members of Parliament, even you, Charles Mwangusha, even Ofono here and Kivumbi and Ssemujju, they can endorse Muhoozi. That has nothing to do with him. They are free as Ugandans to express their support or aspiration that Muhoozi should run for president. But if Muhoozi has to run for president, he will have to resign from the army. Me, as a spokesperson of the MK movement, I can tell you Muhoozi will resign from the army if a time comes and a decision is made that he runs. But let me tell you another thing. The other thing is that we have consulted lawyers. And they have said, look, don't read the law in isolation. Laws are read in a context. Muhoozi is not just a serving soldier in the army. Muhoozi is a senior presidential advisor. First, a senior presidential advisor in Uganda's system is equal to a cabinet position. A presidential advisor is equal to Minister of State. So he is a senior presidential advisor on special operations. The appointing authority is the person who knows what those special operations entail. If they entail him addressing rallies, that is constitutional, perfectly legal under the Constitution. You see, David Muhoozi, right now, General David Muhoozi is a serving officer in the UPDF. He's the Minister of Internal Affairs. As Minister of Internal Affairs, he can do many things that any other soldier without that position cannot do.
Okay.
So General Muhoozi acts, therefore, in that context that he's a senior presidential advisor, which is, by the way, a civilian appointment on special operations, and the schedule of duties, responsibilities, and to that job, are defined by the appointing authority, who is the president, and is not complaining. He's also the commander-in-chief. So if the president is not complaining, UPDF is not complaining, who are these who are so aggrieved to be complaining?
Okay. I see someone has shared a photo of members of parliament. I'm trying to scrutinize it to see Honorable Paul Omara lining up to shake hands with General Mohozi.
What's wrong with that?
Another person has sent me a message to asking me to ask you, Honorable Paul Omara, what does a stool, a spear mean? What was the interpretation of those?
I'm not a Muteso, but our cultures and traditions are similar, where a spear and a stool is a symbol of authority and protection. So he was given a spear and a shield and a stool. It's honor. It's what you give to your chief guest.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a gift.
Okay. Ken Mutenyo here has a very interesting comment. He says, at the Mao homecoming in Gulu, just recently, ministers, General Saleh, NRM Vice Chairman Haji Moses Chigongo attended. Mao has expressed interest in the presidency. Can we therefore say they endorsed Mao as presidency?
That's a good one.
That's a comment from
I like that.
Ken Mutenyo. I have another comment here. Someone says, YKM is pushing hard to compromise opposition parties. His hard push to compromise opposition parties is because he knows there will be serious backlash once he tries to impose MK to the NRM. And many senior members will think of jumping ship. So he doesn't want those who will abandon NRM to find well-functioning political parties to join. But we'll come to that at another moment. Let me go to the Honorable Ssemujju Ibrahim Nganda. Yes, you did not attend. You refused to attend. When you saw what came out of Bukedea, what is your interpretation of that, and what does that mean?
I think we cross over serious issues. When we had a discussion with Mr. Museveni on one of the radio stations, I asked him how he felt about appointing his wife a minister and promoting his son to positions and ranks that now made him a member of the High Command. He attempted to answer for the wife, but he did not answer for the son. Look at where we've come from. In CA, Mr. Museveni wrote to the movement caucus. He was complaining about the utterances made by General David Sejusa, Serwanga Rwanga, and Dr. Kiza Besigye. That's when he actually said that military officers are supposed to be listening posts. They are not supposed to utter any controversial statement. Because from the very beginning, Mr. Museveni wanted to build, in fact, 2001, either, he said one of the reasons he wanted to continue being a president was to build a professional army. We even had the British government sponsoring that process of professionalizing the army, leading to a white paper that eventually became the UPDF Act of 2005. The idea was that we need to build a national army knowing our history. And Mr. Museveni at that time, he did not want military officers even to make a controversial statement. Because at that time the Besigye, I think, had spoken about the freeing of political parties there. And he said, no, that area you must not go into. Everything bad that a leader can do to a country, Mr. Museveni has done.
How do you mean?
No, I just can't imagine that you can wake up one day and you make your wife a minister. Moreover, a wife who stopped in senior 2 and went to Makerere illegally.
The last I checked, she was a graduate with a master's.
You want me to give you a file of what McKay wrote on her admission? That
Are you disputing her?
She does not qualify, written by Bazanye, who was Deputy Academic Registrar. Those files exist.
But she was still,
So I am stating a fact. I mean, you can graduate. Even Idi Amin's son went to Makerere. He went to do law. He was in Lumumba until when he got tired and walked away. So the things that Amin did Museveni has done, because these children are on the rules, they do anything they want. What Muhoozi Kainerugaba is doing, even if you are too intelligent, you cannot whitewash it. It's glaring. From Henry to Mukunde, who made comments on 2 radio stations and is in jail for 4 years, to Museveni's son, who says, I will be a presidential candidate. I don't know where Andrew Mwenda lives. Muhoozi Kainerugaba has said, I will be a presidential candidate. He has said NRM is a reactionary group. He has said his father has failed here and here, and this is where he seeks to improve when he becomes a president. Do not discuss Bukedia in isolation. Bukedia is just one of the events. Then he went around, and you see, presidential advisors, the moment you work for government, you work for the public, you are all subjected to the same standards. But because Muhoozi is Museveni's son, even these MPs that you saw lining up, many of them are just vulnerable beings who don't even have an idea of which direction the country has taken. They say, oh, I mean, suppose one day, as Andrew said, retired Museveni says, I am not continuing, and it is the son. Let me also take the opportunity to line up. You saw the other day an MP leaking Museveni's shoe at Parliament.
Which MP was that?
You forgotten Nyanzi. He went to the ground, licking the shoe, saying, I love you, sir. What the MPs do can extremely embarrassing. And no matter if they tell you MK is going to become as a guest of honor and you continue and you say you don't know what you are doing, you need to be, someone should take you to test you. So you go at a function. First of all, the Speaker of Parliament is number 3 in the hierarchy of the country. A number 3 should be restrained from bringing a junior as a guest of honor. And that's why at her house you had the former Vice President, the Honorable Chiwanuka Sekandi. So when you do things, when you put yourself in compromising situations, don't come on a television and begin saying the Constitution says this. You must act by the Constitution. That's why in Parliament I asked the Deputy Speaker, the Honorable Thomas Tayewa, because you already have an active case in court. Muhoozi Kainerugaba is a suspect, having broken the UPDF Act and the Constitution, and I asked the Speaker to guide me.
The case in court is not a criminal one.
It doesn't matter. I am
Yes,
using the word. I am using the word.
The use of
No,
the
you
word
can
suspect
be taken to court by.
He's a respondent. He's not a suspect.
It doesn't matter. So
Yes.
me, I have characterized him that way deliberately.
Yes.
I have characterized him that deliberately. So I asked the Deputy Speaker to tell me if they were not inviting court at one time to summon them either as witnesses or co-accused. And I said, you are putting us in a very difficult situation, because this matter we should be raising. When we are swearing in as MPs, we are given a constitution. Each MP, you are swearing in by raising, you are saying in by the Quran or Bible. The first oath is that you will defend the constitution. Omara says, no, we must defend the constitution. And then he went to the scene of crime as the constitution was being broken. And he still wants to plead the innocence. So you have a military man coming, is handed, Andrew, can you take your tea? so you appear at a function where a military man is campaigning, is handed the tools of authority, and the first oath is that you will defend and protect the constitution. In fact, you should be in jail. That you were at a place where the constitution that you sought to defend was being broken, and you are just treating it casually. So for me, the things that Museveni would not do, one time Andrew wrote, and I think he was the very first person, if I'm not mistaken, to say if Museveni of 1986 met the Museveni, I don't remember which year it was, they would fight. I have a feeling that if the Andrew Mwenda I worked with at Monitor met this Andrew Mwenda, the spokesperson of MK, they would fight, and one of them will be hospitalized.
Which one would be hospitalized most likely?
This new one, who wrote not one, not two, but many articles about Museveni's dynasty, who wrote even the most recent an article of how Museveni had staffed the state with his relatives. And they arrested him in the morning and he called me crying, they are taking me. You remember Mwenda, you're supposed to be appearing at Capital Gang. He called me, said they are taking me, and then he went to everything, they are taking me, Andrew here. You remember that day on a Saturday? Now he says it is okay. Muhoozi does not want to be president. And when I see the job we are doing is very bad. You need to find
he says there are people who are urging Muhoozi to run for president.
No. You see, Mwenda is extremely intelligent. His job should be an advisor. And then you look for someone who is not substantial to be the one to say the things that you are saying. It will look okay.
Like which things were you saying?
Everything you have said, you should stay somewhere, advise, and then you deploy someone who is not substantial.
Why?
Because it's just a contradiction. The things you're writing against one by one. So therefore, for me, the point is that we've moved full circle. The Museveni today has no shame. He can appoint a wife, a minister. He can appoint a son, senior president. They had asked Parliament, how gifted is the Museveni's family? That you have Sare, senior presidential advisor, his brother. Then you have a son, Muhoozi Kainerugaba, senior presidential advisor. Then you have Audrey Kruabogo, who marries Museveni's son, senior president.
He marries Museveni's son?
Museveni's daughter. And I said, so how gifted is this family that it must produce all this number of presidential advisors?
Is that unique? Why do you find that unique?
Even Gaddafi didn't do that. At least he had the son.
Well, President Kennedy appointed his brother as Attorney General.
So does that make it right?
No, I'm asking, does that make it wrong? Does that make Museveni's action wrong?
What is nepotism? What is nepotism?
Was the other nepotism?
It was. It doesn't matter where it was practiced. It doesn't matter. But you have your wife, then how do you call her to order? I asked Museveni these questions. How do you call your son to order? That's why.
So you don't call your children to order at home?
Even I can't take my children to prison in Mwenda. It is not possible. You mean Museveni who took Tumukunde can march Muhoozi Kainerugaba into prison? It is not possible.
So take Muhoozi to prison since he's your friend?
Everything that we have done as a country in professionalizing and building an army has now been broken down. You now have a militia of Museveni's family. If there's an election and they want to kill, they will go and kill. The son can go to address a rally in Sebei and is received by division commanders. That message that you send, because you see, not everybody who is in UPDF is a fool. They see you doing these things. They know you are breaking the law. You can pretend about it, and they may not be comfortable. Okay. So the responsibility that all of us have, if you want to have a peaceful country, is to stop. And I want to ask Mwenda, who speaks both to the son and the father, please tell them they still can live a very good life, but without having...
Honorable Ssemujju, what have you told your colleagues in Parliament? What have you told the Speaker about that?
I've told you yesterday I raised this matter. And the Speaker said the same things that Omara has said here. I don't know if they have chorused them. That there is nothing stops a military officer from attending a function. Because I raised it. Said, how do we deal with this situation? Both of you, the Speakers of Parliament, are receiving, and these MPs, one by one, are falling on each other to go and shake hands with Museveni's son.
Let me bring other panelists into this discussion.
I don't know if Omara was part of that.
You've been around for some time and you're following what is going on.
You're looking very bad, like matoke sellers in the market.
Honorable Ssemujju, let me get into this discussion.
Yes.
Does Parliament find itself in a complicated situation because of this invitation and the event that happened in Bukedea?
Well, first of all, let me correct what you said earlier on, that the group of MPs that traveled to Bukedea, both in the House of the Speaker and the public gathering where Muhoozi Kainerugaba was the chief guest, was the NRM parliamentary caucus. That wasn't.
No, I asked a question.
No.
If it was.
You used the word parliamentary caucus of NRM endorsing. That wasn't parliamentary caucus of NRM. That was members of parliament who were visiting the speaker at her invitation. I have said on this show before that I don't particularly think that most members of parliament are very sophisticated. Perhaps 20%. And so you pity them when they find themselves in what appears to be a catch-22. You are here at the function of the speaker and then asks you to join him. And then would you walk out of the speaker's function simply because a serving officer has been invited as the chief guest? No, I don't think you do that. You respect your host. Secondly, I don't agree with you to say that, with the Honorable Ssemujju, that somebody who's junior than you can't invite them at a private function as your chief guest. Because Ssemujju has an issue to say, how can the speaker, who's number 3, invite a military officer who's ranking in the protocol of government, is even not there as a chief guest? You can invite a friend as your guest at your private function, because that was a private function of the speaker, both functions in her house and her constituency. So I think you can invite a junior person if they are your friends, if you think that they're having a value to add. Many people would invite my brother Tamari Mirundi if you want to speak for you, if you want him to speak for you. So I don't have any issue with that. Now, it is good to live long. And this is why I concur with the Honorable Ssemujju. Mr. Mwenda Mujuni was actually the first person to write not one article, series of articles about Akaju. That Museveni was building Akaju. It was Honorable Mwenda here. In his opening remarks, he said why MK is a necessary force or inevitable force to come. He says NRM is bedeviled by patronage and corruption. What is worse? If somebody is trying to have a leg room on account of being a son of a minister, a son of a president, what would be worse? I think we need to treat Ugandans with some little bit of intelligence. Yes, you can use the legalese, but I don't think even the average Ugandan thinks that what is going on is normal. Yes, a presidential advisor, the terms of reference is given by the president. But there are certain things that are obvious. General Katumba Wamala is a minister of works. I don't think you can fault him. He's a serving military officer. But I don't think you can fault him on making political statements that are controversial. General David Muhoozi is a Minister of Internal Affairs. I don't think you can fault them or him for making controversial political statements. And therefore, I think the onus is on the promoters of MK. The onus is on MK, the person, to know that what he's doing, even when his promoters may be saying it is lawful, it is illegal, is having unintended bad consequences. Yes, it's having unintended bad consequences.
His crowd seemed to be growing bigger.
That's true. You can have
Gaetano had crowds.
You can have big crowds. That's okay.
Gaetano had crowds. That Entebbe highway was jammed because Gaetano was returning. Where is the difference between Gaetano's and Moses' crowd?
And you saw the speaker is the one who said, here in Bukedia, we believe in the Son
We believe in the
Father,
Father,
in the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Since when did that belief start in Bukedia? Since when did that belief start? So you clearly see calculative people. You see calculative people. Even if it were you, I'm sure. If the son of the president, leave alone the one who wants to be a president, if the son of the president was to visit your home, I'm sure you would call the whole of Toro to come to see how you are close to the son of the president. So again, you don't begrudge him also. You don't begrudge him. Because any person would want to associate with. But I fault them for not seeing the possible disquiet or overt disquiet in the country. Supposing this was being done by another serving officer, would we still, okay, supposing today, Ofono or any other person begins saying, no.
CDF leadership, the CDF.
Two, the complicity of being the son of the president. Certainly. I want to believe the president, like any other human being, is the most likely what you, again, I said, catch 22.
What does that mean for the NRM as a political party?
For the NRM as a political party, there are two things that I see, and I wrote about it last Saturday, by the way. There's a sense in which I see the NRM party being in inertia. In inertia because we believe we have a president who's going to serve his full term. And there is a very likelihood that will come. So NRM as a party, there's no reason to start jumping up and down because we want to believe the president is still available. But secondly, is what I said earlier on. There is a group of people, particularly young people, but also young people, including some leaders in that parliament. Majority of members of parliament, I think, are below 45. Many of them are first-termers in parliament and first-termers in politics. So they are being calculative. Assuming the MK movement comes with the storm, gathers momentum, you don't want to be found on the wrong side of events towards 2026 or 2031. Secondly, the president himself has said it, by the way. He said, beware. He said, he told me, beware. Some of the people running around you could be opportunists. There are many people who think that if you associate with Muhoozi, you associate with the president or his people, chances of getting money or even recognition is high. Being whispered to so that you become a minister. MPs are beginning to position themselves for the next year cycle of election, so you need money. You need the contacts. So many of them are schemers. And I want to agree with Ssemujju that I doubt if they know where the direction is. And so they are going by the winds.
Okay, we'll, I'll ask,
just one second.
I'm afraid I'll have to ask.
One second. You see, the environment that Mr. Museveni has created in the country, if you have a border without a number plate, if you want to run a roadside illegal market, you just put either Museveni's portrait or his son. So they are now symbols of breaking the law.
We need to take a quick commercial break. I will ask the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi to kindly indulge me and our viewers. We take a short commercial break, and when we come up, I'll pick it up with the Honorable Mwanga Chivumbi. We'll be right back.